There are moments in life when your faith does not disappear, but it feels distant, like something you can no longer touch the way you once did. You still believe, you still hold on, but something inside you feels quieter than before. The connection that once felt strong now feels fragile, and you don't even know exactly when it started to change. In those moments, doubts do not come loudly. They enter softly, almost unnoticed. A small question here, a heavy feeling there. You begin to wonder why your heart no longer feels the same peace in prayer, why you feel like they are rising, but not settling anywhere within you. You stand in prayer, your body, but your heart feels somewhere else. You recite the words you have known for years, yet they no longer move you the way they used to. And that feeling, it scares you. Because you are not just afraid of the distance, you are afraid of what it might mean. You start questioning yourself. What changed? Did I do something wrong? Why does my connection feel weaker when I need it the most? And the more you think, the heavier it becomes. The silence inside your chest begins to feel louder than anything around you. Sometimes, it is not even about doubts in belief. It is exhaustion. You have been trying for so long. Trying to stay consistent, trying to stay strong, trying to hold on to something you cannot physically see. And slowly, that effort starts to feel heavy, like you are carrying something alone. There are nights when you raise your hands to make dua, but the words feel difficult to form. Not because you don't believe Allah hears you, but because your heart feels tired. You want to speak, but your feels drained, like it has nothing left to say. And in those quiet moments, a subtle whisper enters your thoughts, telling you that maybe things are not changing. Maybe your prayers are not being answered. Maybe this distance will remain. It is not a loud voice, but it is persistent. But what makes it even more painful is that you still care. You still want that connection back. You still want to feel close again. If you did not care, it would not hurt this much. That pain itself is proof that your faith is not gone, it is simply struggling. And sometimes, you look at others and wonder why it seems so easy for them. Why their hearts appear soft, their connection strong, they're steady. While inside you feel like you are holding on to something that keeps slipping through your fingers. You try to fix it. You listen to reminders, you open the Qur'an, you make extra dua, but the feeling does not instantly return. And that makes you feel even more lost. Because you expected that if you tried, it would come back quickly. But faith is not always about immediate feelings. Sometimes it is about continuing even when you feel nothing. Continuing when your heart feels heavy. Continuing when your connection feels distant. And that is one of the hardest forms of sincerity. And this is exactly why you need to hear this, because there is an ayah in the Quran that speaks directly to this state. Not to your strength, but to your. Not to your certainty, but to your struggle. An ayah that does not ignore what you are feeling, but understands it completely. Because what feels broken inside you is not beyond repair. And what feels distant is not gone. There is still a path back. There comes a point in a person's journey where the struggle is no longer visible on the outside, but it is deeply felt within. You are still practicing, still holding on to your faith, but something inside feels disconnected. Not broken completely, just distant. Like your heart is present, but not fully engaged. It becomes difficult to explain to others, because from the outside, nothing seems wrong. You still pray, you still say the right words, you still appear the same. But inside, there is a quiet emptiness. A feeling that something is missing, even though you cannot fully describe what it is. And one of the heaviest parts of this experience is the loss of motivation. The things that once felt easy now feel heavy. Prayer, which used to bring comfort, starts to feel like an effort. Not because you don't value it, but because your heart feels tired every time you stand. You delay it sometimes, not intentionally rejecting it, but struggling to gather the energy for it. And when you finally do stand, your body goes through the motions, but your mind drifts, and your heart feels distant. You finish, but instead of feeling peace, you feel a quiet guilt. There are moments when you sit alone and wonder what changed. Why something that once gave you strength now feels like something you are trying to hold onto with effort. And that question begins to weigh on you more than the feeling itself. And then come the moments of hardship, when life becomes heavy, and things do not go the way you hoped. In those moments, thoughts begin to appear, questions you never used to entertain. Why is this happening? Why now? Why me? Not questions of disbelief, but questions born from pain. These thoughts can feel uncomfortable, even frightening. Because you never wanted to question, you never wanted to feel this way. But hardship has a way of exposing the parts of our hearts that we did not realize were fragile. And slowly, you begin to confuse these feelings within your faith. You start to think that something is wrong with you, that maybe your iman is not strong enough, that maybe you are failing in ways you cannot fully see. But the truth is, this state you are in is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of being human. The heart was never created to remain at one level constantly. It rises, and it falls. It strengthens, and it weakens. And every believer, no matter how strong they appear, goes through these moments. It's not that you don't believe, it's that your heart feels tired. Tired from trying, tired from holding on, tired from carrying emotions that no one else can see. And sometimes, that exhaustion settles into your faith, making everything feel heavier than it should. Even the companions of the Prophet experienced fluctuations in their iman. They felt moments of strength and moments of, and they did not hide it, they spoke about it, because they understood that this journey was never meant to be perfect, only sincere. So what you are feeling right now is not something that removes you from faith. It is something that reminds you that your heart is alive, because a heart that truly did not care would not feel this struggle at all. And maybe what you need to hear in this moment is not criticism, not pressure, not guilt, but reassurance. That this phase does not define you, that this weakness is not permanent, and that even in this state, you are still being seen, still being understood, and still being guided, even if you cannot feel it yet. And in the middle of this quiet struggle, in the space where your heart feels heavy and your thoughts feel uncertain, there is a verse in the Qur'an that speaks directly to you. Not to the version of you that feels strong, but to the version of you that feels overwhelmed, tired, and unsure of how much more you can carry. It does not ignore your pain. It does not dismiss your struggle. Instead, it meets you exactly where you are, and reminds you of something your heart may have forgotten in this moment. Allah says, Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. Let those words settle, slowly, not rushed, not just heard, but felt. Because this is not just a statement, it is a promise. A promise from the one who created your heart, who understands every hidden within you, who knows the weight of every thought you carry, even the ones you cannot put into words. When you hear this ayah, it is not speaking to a random person, it is speaking to you. To your exact situation, to your exact struggle, to the moment you are in right now, even if no one else fully understands it. It is telling you that what you are going through, as heavy as it feels, is not beyond your capacity. Not because you are strong on your own, but because Allah knows the strength He placed inside you, even when you cannot see it yourself. And maybe that is what makes this ayah so powerful. It does not say life will be easy. It does not say you will not feel pain. But it tells you that every test, every hardship, every moment of emotional weight has already been measured, precisely, by the one who never makes a mistake. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you feel like you are reaching your limit, understand this. Your feeling is real, your struggle is valid. But this ayah is reminding you that you have not been given more than you can endure. And sometimes, the wisdom is not in removing the burden immediately, but in shaping you through it. Strengthening parts of your heart you did not know existed, teaching you reliance in ways comfort never could. Pause for a moment, and really sit with this. The weight you feel has been allowed with purpose. The struggle you are facing has been measured with precision. And the strength you think you do not have already exists within you, because Allah Himself has said that you can carry this. So when your heart feels like it is breaking, remember this ayah is not distant from you. It is speaking into that very moment, telling you that you are not being crushed, you are being carried through something that is meant for you, even if you do not yet understand why. When you reflect deeply on this ayah, you begin to realize that every single word carries a meaning that reaches far beyond what is heard on the surface. It is not just a sentence meant to comfort you briefly, it is a reality meant to reshape the way you see your struggles entirely. Allah does not burden. Pause here for a moment. Before even thinking about the burden, think about the one who is placing it. This is not random. This is not careless. This is not something that slipped into your life without purpose. The one who created you, who knows every detail of your soul, is the one who allowed this weight to reach you. Allah knows your limits better than you know them yourself. He knows how much your heart can, how much your mind can process, how much your soul can endure, even when you feel like you are at your breaking point. What feels like too much to you is still within the knowledge of the one who designed your capacity. Sometimes, we measure our strength based on how we feel in the moment. And in moments of exhaustion, everything feels overwhelming. But Allah does not measure you based on your temporary feelings. He measures you based on the true strength He placed within you. And that changes everything, because it means your struggle is not a mistake. It means your hardship is not misplaced. It means you are not being pushed beyond what you were created to handle, even if it feels that way right now. A soul, Not people in general, not humanity as a whole. A soul, your soul. This makes it deeply personal. This ayah is not speaking in a distant, generalized way, it is speaking directly to each individual, to each carrying its own unique weight. Your test is different from someone else's. Your pain is shaped specifically for you. And that is why comparing your journey to others will always leave you confused. Because what you are carrying was never meant for them, and what they are carrying was never meant for you. Beyond what it can bear. This is where the heart begins to soften, if it truly reflects. Because this part of the ayah is not denying that the burden is heavy. It is acknowledging it, but redefining it. It is telling you that even though it feels unbearable, it is not actually beyond your ability to carry. You are stronger than you feel. Not because you trained yourself to be strong. Not because you chose this strength. But because Allah placed that strength within you before this test ever reached you. The capacity was already there, the test simply revealed it. And maybe this is why your struggle feels so intense. Because it is stretching you to a level you have not reached before. It is calling out strength you did not know you had. And growth, especially spiritual growth, is never comfortable. The struggle you are in is not a sign of weakness, it is proof of your capacity. If you were truly weak beyond repair, this test would never have reached you. The fact that you are in it, still standing, still trying, still holding on even in your lowest moments, is evidence that there is something within you that is capable of enduring it. And this is where you begin to see the mercy behind the difficulty. Because Allah is not just Al-Alim, the all-knowing. He is also Ar-Rahim, the most merciful. His knowledge of your limits is paired with His mercy toward your heart. He does not burden you to break you. He burdens you to shape you, to elevate you, to bring you closer in ways ease never could. Every hardship is placed with precision. Every delay has wisdom behind it. Every emotional weight you carry is seen, counted, and understood, even when no one else recognizes it. So when you feel like you are at your limit, remind yourself of this truth. Not as empty words, but as a reality. The one who allowed this into your life has already measured your ability to survive it. You are not in something you cannot handle. You are in something that is uncovering who you are capable of becoming. When you bring this ayah into your real life, it begins to change the way you see everything you are going through. Not by removing the pain instantly, but by giving it meaning. And sometimes, meaning is what the heart needs more than immediate relief. Think about the stress you carry every single day. The constant pressure to keep going, to keep showing up, to keep holding everything together even when you feel like you are falling apart inside. It builds slowly, quietly, until even small things start to feel overwhelming. And in those moments, you begin to wonder if you are reaching your limit. If maybe this is too much for you. If maybe you were not meant to handle this level of pressure. But then this ayah speaks into that exact moment, reminding you that this weight you feel has already been measured. Not randomly, not carelessly, precisely. That pain you're carrying, it was measured for you. Even your anxiety, the thoughts that race through your mind late at night, the overthinking that does not seem to stop, the fear of what might go wrong even when nothing has happened yet. It feels uncontrollable, it feels exhausting, but even that is not outside of your capacity. Not because anxiety is easy, but because your ability to endure it, to slowly work through it, to keep moving despite it, is greater than you realize. And Allah knows that, even when you doubt it, then there is heartbreak, the kind that does not just hurt once, but lingers. The kind that changes the way you feel about people, about trust, about yourself. It leaves a weight in your chest that does not easily lift. You ask yourself why it had to happen, why you had to feel it this deeply, why it affected you in ways you were not prepared for. But this ayah reminds you of something powerful. Your test is not random, it is designed. Designed in a way that reaches your heart specifically. Designed to teach you something that comfort could never teach. Designed to redirect you, protect you, or even detach you from something that was not meant to remain in your life. And then there is failure. Moments where you tried, and it did not work. Moments where you gave your effort, your time, your hope, and the outcome still disappointed you. Failure has a way of making you question your worth. It makes you feel like maybe you are not capable enough, not strong enough, not good enough. But this ayah reframes that completely. Because if this failure reached you, it means it is something you can carry. And if you can carry it, it means there is something within you that can grow from it. Something that is being built quietly beneath the surface. Sometimes, the weight you feel is not meant to break you, it is meant to reshape you. And when you begin to see your life through this lens, everything changes. The stress is no longer just stress. The pain is no longer just pain. The hardship is no longer just something to escape. It becomes something meaningful, something intentional, something that is part of a bigger design that you may not fully see yet, but is still unfolding in your favor. So the next time your chest feels heavy, the next time your thoughts feel overwhelming, the next time your heart feels like it cannot carry anymore, pause, and remind yourself gently, this was not given to me by accident. This moment, this feeling, this test, was measured specifically for me. And even if it does not feel like it right now, you are still capable of carrying it. Sometimes, when your own struggle feels too heavy to understand, you need to step back and look at the lives of those who were closest to Allah. Not because their lives were easy, but because they were not. And yet, their faith remained. Take a moment to reflect on Prophet Ayub, as a man known for his patience, but not because his life was free from hardship. In fact, his life became a symbol of prolonged suffering. He lost his health, his wealth, and the comfort of stability that most people rely on to feel secure. And it did not happen overnight and pass quickly. It stayed, it stretched across time, it became a part of his daily existence. The pain was not temporary, it was constant. The kind of hardship that, if placed upon most people, would break them completely. But what makes his story powerful is not just the difficulty, it is how he carried it. He did not deny his pain. He did not pretend it was easy. But he remained connected to Allah through it. Even when everything around him was stripped away, his remained attached to the one who had allowed it to happen. And when he finally spoke from the depth of his pain, his words were filled with humility, not. He said, indeed, adversity has touched me, and you are the most merciful of the merciful. There is something deeply powerful in that. He acknowledged his suffering, but he still recognized the mercy of Allah within it. Now reflect on Prophet Yaqub, as his test was not physical, it was emotional. The pain of losing his son, the uncertainty, the longing, the years of grief that settled into his heart so deeply that it began to affect even his sight. Imagine carrying that kind of sadness for years. Not days, not weeks, years. And yet, in the middle of that pain, he said something that defines true faith. I only complain of my sorrow and my grief to Allah. He did not suppress his emotions. He did not act as if everything was fine. He felt deeply, but he turned that feeling toward Allah, not away from him. This is what makes these stories so important for you to understand. Because they show you that struggle is not a sign that something is wrong with your faith. It is not a sign that you have been abandoned. In fact, some of the greatest believers carried the heaviest tests. Even the strongest hearts felt pain. Even the closest servants experienced loss, grief, and hardship that would seem unbearable. But what made them different was not the absence of pain. It was the presence of trust within it. Faith is not the absence of pain, it is trusting Allah within it. And maybe that is what you need to hold on to right now. Not the idea that your life should be easy, or that your heart should never feel heavy, but the understanding that feeling pain does not mean you are far from Allah. It might actually mean you are being drawn closer, in a way that only hardship can create. So when your chest feels tight, when your thoughts feel heavy, when your heart feels like it is carrying more than it should, remember them. Remember that you are not the first to feel this way. And you are not alone in it. Because the path of faith has always included moments of struggle, but it has also always led back to Allah for those who continue to trust Him, even when it hurts. After everything you have felt, everything you have carried, and everything you are still trying to understand, the next step is not to overwhelm yourself with perfection. It is not to suddenly become the strongest version of yourself overnight. It is something much simpler, and much more powerful. It is to return, not perfectly, not completely, but sincerely. Start with the Qur'an, not in a way that feels heavy or forced, but in a way that feels possible. Even if it is just one ayah a day, one moment where you sit, slow down, and allow the words of Allah to reach your heart again. Because the Qur'an was not sent only for people who feel strong. It was sent for hearts exactly like yours, hearts that feel tired, searching, and in need of something real to hold on to. Even one ayah, when reflected upon deeply, can begin to soften what feels hard inside you. It can slowly rebuild a connection that feels distant. And over time, those small moments will begin to grow into something steady again. Then turn to dua, not as a perfect act, but as an honest one. You do not need the right words. You do not need long, structured supplications. Speak to Allah in the language of your heart. Tell Him what you feel, even if it is confusion, even if it is pain, even if it is silence broken by a few simple words. Because dua is not about how beautifully you speak, it is about how sincerely you turn. And even when it feels like nothing is changing, know that every word is heard. Every feeling is understood. Every moment you raise your hands is seen by the one who never ignores you. And then there is dhikr, the quiet remembrance that reconnects your heart throughout the day. Simple words, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, words that may feel small on the tongue, but carry immense weight in the heart. Especially when repeated consistently, even in moments when you do not feel much. Dhikr is not always about feeling something instantly. Sometimes, it is about staying connected even when you feel nothing, until slowly, that connection begins to return. Do not pressure yourself to do everything at once. Do not measure your faith based on intensity. Measure it based on consistency, even if it is small. Because the path back to Allah is not built on perfection. It is built on returning again and again, no matter how many times you feel like you have drifted. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to return. Return with a tired heart. Return with a heavy chest. Return even when you feel distant. Because every step you take back, no matter how small, is always met with mercy that is far greater than you can imagine. Now, slow down for a moment. Let everything you have heard settle gently within you. Not as information, but as something your heart can feel. Close your eyes for a moment. Just for a few seconds, step away from everything around you. The noise, the distractions, the thoughts that keep rushing through your mind. Take a slow breath in, and let it out. And now, think about what you're going through. That one thing that has been sitting heavy on your heart. The worry you keep carrying. The pain you do not always speak about. The struggle that feels like it has stayed longer than you expected. Do not push it away. Do not try to ignore it. Just acknowledge it, honestly. Feel it for what it is. And now, gently bring this ayah back into that moment. Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. Let those words sit with your struggle. Not separately, but together. Because this ayah was not revealed for moments of ease. It was revealed for moments exactly like this, when your chest feels tight and your heart feels overwhelmed. And as you sit with this, remind yourself of something deeply personal. Allah chose you for this test, because you can handle it. Not by your own strength alone, but with the strength He placed inside you. The one who knows every hidden part of you, the one who understands your limits better than you ever could, is the one who allowed this moment into your life. That means it is not random. It is not a mistake. It is not beyond you. Even if it feels heavy, even if it feels like too much, there is still a part of you that is capable of carrying it. And maybe right now, you do not feel that strength. Maybe right now, you feel tired, uncertain, even broken in ways you cannot explain. But this ayah is not asking you to feel strong. It is reminding you that you already are, even if you cannot see it yet. So stay here for a moment longer. Breathe slowly, and let this truth settle into your heart. You are not being crushed by this test. You are being carried through something that you were created to endure. And you are not alone in it. Not now, not ever. As this moment comes to an end, don't rush away from it. Let it stay with you, just a little longer. Because what you felt here, what touched your heart, was not sluka. It was a reminder you needed. Your faith is not gone, it's just waiting to be revived. It was never completely lost. It never disappeared the way you feared it did. It only became quiet, covered beneath layers of stress, pain, and distraction. But something within you still responded to this. Something within you still cared. And that is proof that your Iman is still alive. This ayah is your reminder, you are stronger than you think. Stronger than your doubts, stronger than your exhaustion, stronger than the heaviness you have been carrying in silence. Not because you feel strong all the time, but because Allah Himself has declared your capacity. And His words are always true. So do not let this moment pass like every other reminder you have heard. Hold on to it, even if it is just one small step forward. Even if it is just one sincere dua tonight. Even if it is just one ayah you return to tomorrow. Let this be different. Let this be the moment you decide not to give up on your heart. Because your heart is not beyond repair. It is not too far gone. It is not too late. Right now, in this very moment, you can turn back. Not perfectly, but sincerely. And before you leave, take a moment for something simple, but powerful. Lower your guard, soften your heart, and say it, not just with your lips, but from the deepest place inside you. Ya Allah, strengthen my Iman. Say it with your hope. Say it even if your voice feels heavy. Because Allah hears that comes from a struggling heart, more than the one that comes easily. And trust this, no sincere call to Him is ever ignored. So if this reminder touched your heart, don't scroll away. Do not let this feeling fade without acting on it. Take a second, and hold on to this connection. Like this video. so it reaches someone else who might need it just as much as you did. Share it, because you never know whose heart it might heal. And subscribe, so you continue to receive reminders that bring you back when you feel lost again. Because sometimes, all it takes is one reminder to change the direction of your heart. And maybe, just maybe, this was yours.